Welcome to my channel, to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. In this video we are going to look over SUI, Avalanche, HBAR and Dogecoin. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. So let's just start with SUI. So if we look at SUI, we can say, okay, this kind of price movement we already predicted. Also here with this high, why that? Because we had here some resistance. So if I take it something like this, then you can see that it was pretty close. So anyway, it looks like to me that we are breaking to the downside. And what I can do now is we have in orange this rising wedge and we have our target. But this target is going to move now because the retests went a bit higher, like this. So the target is not anymore $2.74. The target is, in my opinion, the $3.08. We also had here this very sharp falling wedge. I've also said no trade here possible, just for an orientation for this bounce right here. So if I'm not in a short position, then I would wait for the $3.56 breaking to the downside, or getting a retest at $3.83. Then I would open here a short trade with a stop loss over. I want to give the trade a bit more space, so I would just give this one right here with a stop loss over here. So not over the top right here, yeah, because we have here far more resistance and we can still fish the stops right here. I just want to give the trade a bit more space, so if we push and still sell off, then I'm still in the trade without getting my stop loss order hit. So if the $3.56 breaks to the downside, chance is very high, $3.08 in my opinion. It's a huge jump, but I think this is possible. We also have here a fair value gap between $3.30 to $3.23. Here I would also consider taking profits for SUI. So what about Avalanche? Avalanche didn't do exactly what we wanted, like what we actually expected, but it did what we wanted. So what we wanted was a breakout and retest, and this retest was it was for, I think, 10 hours, maybe 11 hours. So basically perfect entry. We were still thinking, okay, we have a fair value gap between $24.70 to $24.84, that we should fill that fair value gap to sell off from there. But we already got, and that's what I've also said yesterday, if we get a breakout lower, like a candle close lower than the previous low here at $23.90, this was this candle. This is already the follow through. So the chances of seeing the fair value gap again was very low. And now we are setting off. We are setting off, and target is ongoing. 19.85 cents for Avalanche. So we have to see. Maybe we are going to form something like a triangle right here. If yes, then we have to see if we break it then to the downside. And I don't want to take this trend line, to be honest. I would still give a bit more space if we get a candle close lower than that. But if we really break it to the downside, and the real breakout would be once we take out this low here again, then the 19.85 cents is going to be very realistic in my opinion. If we break here to the upside, then we can still get into the fair value gap and have to see if we are going to sell off from here or if we are going to push. That's why if I'm not in a short position, then I would actually wait a bit longer I wouldn't just jump into a short position now. We can still get this bounce here. Then I can open a short position at $23.90. Here's the price mark with a tight stop loss over those tops here, like within the fair value gap in my opinion, maybe even a bit over it. So this is going to be my setup if I wouldn't be in a short position. So $90.85 is the target at the moment. What about HBAR? For HBAR I got stopped out. Have to be honest, I got stopped out. I was thinking, okay, we broke here, this rising wedge to the downside, got our retest, got our second retest, got our third retest. Short, with a stop loss right here. And it got hit. Not a big deal. It doesn't mean that HBAR is very bullish. The bounce which HBAR got is better than from other coins. I don't question that. But we can just get here this the second attempt of a breakout retest, and this can happen. If this is the case, and this is going to be the case once we break here to the downside, means we get a candle close lower than 24.5 cents, this low right here, then I think we have to change our target to the top right here. And the target is going to be 17.8 cents for HBAR, 17.9 cents even. There we have a fair value gap, a bigger one. And we have a huge one between 20.3 cents to 24.4 cents. Take profit areas. Those are take profits areas, in my opinion. We never have, for sure, if I enter a trade, I don't always know 100% if we even get into that area. But the chance of getting into the first fair value gap is much more higher than getting into the second. So if I take 50% out of my trade, right into that first fair value gap, this one here, and I just keep the other 50% within the trade, and we bounce from here, then I can get stopped out, break even, but I still took profits of 50% of my position size. If we break to the downside, then I can actually take my other 50% profits at 17.9 cents. This is going to be my plan for HBAR. So far, we can also check if this falling wedge worked. So we were thinking that we are going to bounce within that falling wedge and break to the downside. Instead, I can see it that we broke to the upside. This falling wedge right here. So this pattern didn't get invalidated. Then we take the spread of that falling wedge, put it here to the breakout point, and you can see it, we went even into that area. That's why HBAR was a bit more bullish than the other coins. I can take this one out of the chart. So let's see what HBAR is going to do. It's not looking good. What about Dogecoin? So Dogecoin looks more like we have drew here, that we are going to bounce within that bull flag, but we should break the 21.7 cents to the downside with a high chance. We tried to break it to the downside already 2-3 times, and we always got support. But this time it's a bit different. This time we have a candle close, even 2 candles lower than the bright blue trend line, 21.5 cents. And we are currently in the retest. So I would look for a few more hours, like 2 more hours, round about that. If we are not going to break this here again to the upside. If yes, then I would actually take my fingers from a short trade for Dogecoin, because it's not clear to me. But for sure, if the whole crypto market is bearish and if I'm in a short position for all the other coins, then I can actually take a Dogecoin short. Yeah, Dogecoin is not going to pump up while all the other coins are selling off. Anyway, we are currently in the retest, and the verification that Dogecoin is short with a very high chance is once we get a follow through to this one, and even with a higher chance, this one right here. So if that is going to happen, then we had here an head and shoulders formatation, which broke to the downside, target 18.7 cents. So here's a trade possible, I think 10 to 15%. Yeah, 12.3% is possible in my opinion. So let's see what Dogecoin is going to do. Once we break the 22.16 cents to the upside, then it's actually looking to me, maybe we get a fake out like this one, or we really go for those fair value gaps which we have here on the upside. So we have to see in which direction we break to the upside or to the downside. And yeah, let's get surprised, I would say. The overall market still looks short to me, like I have said in my community post yesterday. And yeah, there is nothing more to say. So with that said, we will see each other in the Render, Tau, Kaspa and ONDO update.